Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and buckle up because we are going to be talking techno fascism, the Hunter Biden laptop, Salman Rushdie, violence, insurrections, armed insurrections at that. Ooh, a Hollyweird mindset, phony politicians, okay, January 6th, and much, much more. So let's start out with Bill Maher as a person, okay? I grew up watching Politically Incorrect from its outset when it was Comedy Central and it wasn't even on regular television. I believe it was ABC that picked it up. And when it did, that was kind of like this new 5 nights a week talk show format. And a lot of people would try to imitate it. But what its lasting legacy would be is that eventually all of, I would say, the major talk shows would morph into an outwardly political apparatus. And Comedy Central itself has a lot just to give to Maher in the sense of how popular The Daily Show became after they got rid of Kilborn and they brought in Jon Stewart. And again, it was more political. Okay. Maher doesn't get everything right. Maher gets a lot of things wrong. I'm extremely critical of Maher with his Malthusian attitude surrounding population, its growth, and really this ideal set that somehow regulating carbon is going to save the planet. And by regulating carbon, you're also going to have population stabilization and control. And Maher is one of these guys that comes at everything from a very me mindset. Okay, he's secular. He doesn't have any interest in having a family. So forget about any kind of spiritual beliefs or any type of belief other than my satisfaction is really what counts. However, he has a very traditional liberal mindset. If you ain't messing with me, I'm not messing with you. I don't care what you do. He has an anti-war mindset most of the time, and he can smell the techno-fascism here in regards to the Hunter Biden laptop. Now, Rob Reiner is a guy who is on Twitter. I see a lot of his stuff come up. He's completely insane. Yeah, but it shows you his mindset. I personally think that the views he expresses and the way he expresses them makes him one of the most revolting, repugnant human beings imaginable. He is going to outwardly tell you in this first clip, using, ironically, something called a straw man argument, which Maher in his later segment of New Rules actually lays out what a straw man is better than most, and actually has a gag on it. We'll show you that video too because they correlate, okay? Immediately, when Maher says, hey, is it really will say and do anything and justify it to win elections? That's what he's saying there, because he's saying the Hunter Biden laptop story was obviously real. Everybody obviously knew it was real. And yet, intel agencies coordinated with big tech, okay, to squash the story in this imagination land thing of Russian disinformation. By the way, we're going to show you the letter that was signed by a bunch of verifiable demons, in my opinion. These are people that's whole career is about lying to the public in order to what? Have full spectrum dominance over the rest of the globe via mass murder and control. Sky bombs, drone warfare, okay? Black sites. Hey, these are the people signing off on this stuff. Again, professional liars. We've played the clip how many times here of Pompeo saying, as the CIA director, I can tell you, we lied, we cheated, we stole. We had entire courses on it. Wow. Well, at least they're being honest. And that's the culture we're under, okay? So buckle up. This one's going to be a pretty long one because we got some clips to play. Before we get into that letter and show you how the mainstream media pushed all this stuff, I want to remind everybody that we are fully demonetized and really shadow banned on YouTube. If you can make it out, okay? I want everybody to look at this in real time. I've got 68,000.4K subscribers. I think, what do we got? 115 people watching. We're lucky. Last night, they just took like 200 subscribers away. I've gotten some back. It's not in my real analytics, but let's hit it. You'll see it right here. Oh, looks like I might be getting them back. We're back to 68.4K. Look at that. Well, fantastic, YouTube. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'd encourage you to go to the Rockfin, where we're going to catch up quick. We got 61,000 subscribers over there. If you do get the premium content, $9.99 a month or $99.99 for the year. We're also on Rumble, growing fast, 8.9. Check out my interview with Joe Hoff from the Gateway Pundit. I think it's a really, really good one, and it's full and free over at Rumble. And if you can buy me a coffee, that's great. Let's get into it. So let's start here with the Hunter Biden laptop. Department of Justice had this thing. They had other hard drives. They had the investigations into Burisma that they know were real prior to this. This guy had his own father in his phone as Pedo Peter, a story you're not going to hear. In fact, another story you're not going to hear is about what? The Ashley Biden diary. And look how the media frames it. This just happened a few days ago. The two people had to actually plead guilty. They say they stole it, even though it's admitted that Ashley Biden just left it in the residence. Nobody stole anything. And it talked about what? Inappropriate showers as a child with her father. It also talked about how she and her cousin were probably abused at an early age. Okay, and you know who goes to jail? Let me tell you who goes to jail. The people that sold the laptop to Veritas.
Two people from Florida have pleaded guilty to stealing and selling the private diary of President Biden's daughter, Ashley.
Which, again, was out there prior to the election. Okay? And by the way, Veritas didn't even put it out. Put out by National File after they got a copy of it. So you could say good for Veritas, but Veritas didn't even put it out. And I truly 100% believe they should have. Again, this is journalism. If you have something, you publish it. That's it. Stop it. Forget their national security code. The only people that you're protecting are the minions and puppets of a predator class that does not care about you. All right, so let's continue.
Biden's daughter was moving from a friend's home in 2020, and she left behind some...
No. She was in a halfway house, a friend's home. I mean, these people are revolting. Anybody going to fact check these people?
Personal items, including her diary. They were found by a woman who, along with a friend, sold them to the conservative activist group Project Veritas. They've been ordered to forfeit the $40,000 they were paid, and they now face 5 years in prison.
The FBI and the Department of Injustice are the cover-up crew and the cleanup crew. All right, I want to make that abundantly clear. So what you're looking at here is the public statement prior to the election that was put out by these people. All right? Put out by these people openly. Okay? And the Russian behavior intimately. We know this is Russia. Russia. Again, they talk about Burisma. I mean, they're talking about Russian operations. Here's the Ukrainian gas company Burisma. So forget about all the perversions and the disturbing things and the crack smoking. How about the big guy? How about the corruption with the Chinese entities? And, of course, the Ukrainian entities. It doesn't matter that you got Joe Biden pre-dementia going, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Got that prosecutor fired. Withheld $1 billion. Hey, my plane leaves soon. Look at that. My plane leaves soon. Castillo, thank you so much for that tip. I really appreciate it over at the Rockfin, guys. We got a couple other people. Jim Garrison, thank you so much also, my friend. So if we are right, this is Russia trying to influence how Americans vote in this election. And we believe strongly that Americans need to be aware of this. So number one, all right, they talk about how they don't know whether or not these emails are genuine. You see that? right above. We want to emphasize, though, we don't know if the emails provided by the New York Post to President Trump's personal attorney, Giuliani, are genuine or not. Okay? And we do not have the evidence of Russian involvement. They absolutely knew there was no Russian involvement. At least some of these top ex-heads that signed this, 100%. 100%. And they knew that the Department of Justice knew. And Bill Barr knew. They all knew. Bill Barr acting like he didn't know. Come on. Are we children? They'd sure treat us like children. I mean, when you look at who signed this thing, again, in my opinion, if there are demons in human form, now it doesn't mean from hell or any kind of occult nonsense. I'm saying people that walk the earth with psychopathic, genocidal traits that will lie to your face and smile to accomplish their goals by any means necessary. Those are the people that signed this thing. That's the reality. Let me just go through some of this, okay? Jim Clapper, one of the absolute worst human beings on earth. Michael Hayden, professional liar. Leon Panetta, absolutely terrible. John Brennan, another one of these guys. It goes on and on and on. Castillo again. Costello. Sorry, not Castillo. Costello. Hopefully I got it that time, my friend. Thank you so much. We appreciate those tipskis and hutch. Mike Vickers, Michael Morrell. These people are awful. And it goes on. I mean, again, they had 50 of them. Now, at the same time, all right, I want to emphasize this. There's a big controversy over Joe Rogan and Mark Zuckerberg. And no, Joe did not push back with any intelligent talk at all. Okay, I watched some of the extended cuts of it. I wish he had. But again, that's not going to happen if he comes on. First of all, complete lie that the FBI, he says, first of all, the FBI told him there was going to be like a kind of a dump like there was in 2016. Okay? We didn't see the algorithms. The FBI is denying that they said any specific incident about a laptop or the Hunter Biden story. They wouldn't have to, because as soon as it's censored by Twitter, another one of these Trojan horse civilian systems, they're all in collusion, and they've already had these talks. And the algorithm has already buried so many of these types of stories. I mean, come on. So this is, again, more of the cat and mouse dance of Johnny Nonsense, of total lies. So here I want to show you that Bill Maher at least gets it. Okay, again, not the biggest fan of Bill, but here's a clip where he exposes the Hollyweird mindset. And it's right there in line with that same bullshit political mindset put out by these Trump derangement syndrome people. All right, whether it's genuine or not, really, they just want control, and they don't want somebody that's even going to challenge the system a little, because Trump is far from perfect. Yeah, we've talked about that. But they basically use a straw man argument, and it's so ironic that Bill did a whole piece on straw mans after this. We're going to show some of that. All right, of January 6th as an armed insurrection to try to kill people. The only people that were armed were law enforcement. The only person that was killed by a bullet, okay, armed, was Ashley Babbitt. And by the way, a lot of people still out there protesting for the January 6th. Shout out to the Gateway Pundit for being one of the few outlets that is talking about that. They need to be talking about that. It's extremely important. So let's go. Let's hear Mar.
Anything is justified in preventing them from taking office. Is it?
No. You know what's not justified? Using armed violence to try to kill people in the Capitol.
So let's just stop right there. Totally. He didn't ask him that question. He says, is anything justified? No, it's not justified, is what they did to the protesters. This guy's off the wall.
That's not justified.
Answer this question. Huh? Answer this question.
What is the question?
Appropriate? The question is, was it appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden?
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And no, there's still people that didn't really want to tell them. The fact of the matter is that a lot of independent media personalities and really alternative, just like the Gateway Pundit. Joe Hoff did amazing stories on the Hunter Biden laptop. Okay, I want to put that out there. One of the few people doing it at the time. Okay, and then had to go overseas and then had to leak it on a torrent and had to have other people to go through it. Okay, and they've still not prosecuted anybody, and they still say they haven't even investigated the laptop itself. And I could just say Burisma, Burisma, Burisma. So it's still being buried.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course. You don't
but
follow
I'm
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I mean, again, I don't know what they did. I don't know. It's like a mafia boss over there. Rob Reiner, big director, big actor back in the day, right, Rob? Bob Meathead, right? Oh, I don't know what they did. I don't know what they did. You know exactly what they did. It's out. It's right in your face. You knew they did it before they admitted it, Reiner.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Well, then you would know about this.
I do know about that.
Oh, you do know about it. Oh, now I just within 30 seconds, I do know about it. I know a little bit. I know a little bit about it, but I don't know. We don't know. I don't know what they said.
Well, you're acting like you know.
I do know about that, and I do watch Fox. But the point is, we're going to prove now that the press tried to.
They're admitting it.
The press is admitting it.
Yes, that's not even an issue anymore. They're saying, yes, we basically did this because we didn't want this to throw the election.
Think about that Time magazine article where they fortified the election. We're fortifying things now. Meanwhile, Zuckerberg, gives hundreds of millions of dollars to Democratic election integrity suits. And I'm not talking about lawsuits, but like organizations. That wasn't asked about. Come on, guys. Give me a break.
Yes?
I don't know that they've all said this. And I
don't know that. I don't know. Amy Klobuchar, I ran for president. I don't know. I think that Joe Biden runs the country. I don't know. Does Joe have dementia? I don't know.
I believe strongly
well, the New York
in the
Times
First
definitely
Amendment.
did.
My dad was a reporter. I believe in it. And I think you have to.
No, you don't.
You have to make sure that you're treating people fairly. But I think Rob's point here is that we are dealing with a man who used to be the president right now, who literally tried to lead an armed insurrection.
He didn't. He never tried to lead an armed. Again, there are things you can say about Trump that are real, but that's not based in any kind of reality. First of all, there is no armed insurrection as when protesters go somewhere without arms. You're in D.C. You're not allowed to have a gun. Okay, so protesters had no guns, no arms. All right, Amy? Secondly, they had a spot at the Capitol where Trump was supposed to speak after, where they had a permitted rally. What occurred there happened before he even stopped speaking. So for her, can this woman be sued into the ground? Can these people be sued into the ground?
And that's why we're so focused on this right now. And I have not been, as you've noticed, as bombastic as my friend here about what's going to happen. About what's going to happen coming out of what we just got out of what they just got out of Mar-a-Lago. I don't know. And just as
what did they just get out of? They openly admit these things are fishing expeditions. What do you mean they got out of Mar-a-Lago? Weren't you running with the hoax? There's nuclear secrets. The nuclear secrets. Again, not in love with Trump, but you can see they don't want him to run. They don't want a base that wants freedom, that questions authority, that actually expects something from their government, that isn't going to go with some repackaged green new heel. Heel, boys. Heel, girls. Be beholden to your carbon. Okay? Now, as this finishes up, Mar's going to start by talking about the Salman Rushdie straw man argument. And I'm going to let him for a second, but I want people to realize that the Rushdie thing is really important because of where it happened, when it happened, and how the New York DA treated another rally, another event that was going on, an hour away, completely different. And there's absolutely no violence. So these people acting like somehow Trump is leading violent insurrectionists. That's imagination land, man.
To happen in these cases. I
Right.
believe you got to let the Justice Department do their jobs. And that
No,
is
the
why
Justice Department doing their jobs means injustice for all, okay? And them being up the cleanup and cover-up crew for the predator class and their minions. They have failed us. The FBI has failed us for decades as regular people. No matter what the color of your skin is or however good the content of your character may be, the Justice Department overall has not worked for you, okay? I want to promise you that. So this is what I want to point out before we get to this clip of the straw man argument, okay? Reawaken Tour host says he felt harassed by a New York prosecutor. Damn straight, he was harassed. I mean, you look at this thing, all right? And Flynn, Clay Clark, they got this little number that you'll see behind me in a moment right here, where they got a letter and, oh, we're worried about your great replacement theory. This is the Office of the Attorney General. Thank you. And they were warning people about the great replacement theory. Oh, hey guys, the only great replacement theory we talk over here is the one where the predator class wants to replace you with automation and robotics. Doesn't matter, again, what the color of your skin is or what gender you identify as. There's no violence there at all. It's all rhetoric. And as you can see by the headline, all right, the sheriff's office says it went smoothly. Of course it did. Why wouldn't it? And yet, again, Maher does this great straw man bit where he brings it out. He talked about Salman Rushdie, okay? Yeah, Salman Rushdie, not really a keyboard warrior. He wrote books. He went on lectures. You agree with him or not. And believe me, there are a lot of things I disagree with via Salman Rushdie, okay? He's the one, he ends up getting stabbed at an event that it was on nobody's radar. They didn't get a letter from the Attorney General. And again, left-leaning audience, not a conservative audience, no big deal. So I want to play some of this because Reiner and Klobuchar both came at the Hunter Biden story with a total straw man argument of January 6th, Johnny nonsense. And this is the new rules segment that he ran via Rushdie. Hopefully. Maybe not. Maybe we're not going to get it. Oh, it looks like it's frozen on this end. So, guys, we do it live. We'll write it and we'll do it live. Let's see what we get.
And finally, new rule, the person the world needs to hear from most about the attack on Salman Rushdie, the person with the strongest moral voice on the issue of Islamist-inspired violence, is Salman Rushdie. And the fact that he can't speak right now shows us that the wrong side won this round. And make no mistake, there are two sides to this. And no, they don't break down to Muslim and non-Muslim. There are many brave Muslims and many cowardly, stupid liberals. If all you can muster to say about this event is stabbing is bad and I'm against it, without looking at the reasons behind it, you're useless. And that just...
I mean, look, I agree with most of what he just said right there. You're kind of useless. And he's not talking, again, about Muslim, non-Muslim. He's right. Basically, when you stab somebody on stage because you don't like what they're saying, this is a man that doesn't direct policy, and you don't like what he's saying against a certain idea set. This happened to be religion. You don't have anything to say. You don't. See, either you're free speech or you're against it. Either you allow people to say things you don't like, or you don't. So do you believe in free speech or not? That's really one of the things that you have to take away from this event. But again, I'm the only one talking about the irony that the Attorney General's office is so worried about the Clay Clark event and General Flynn, and they don't even have their eyes on the prize where violence does occur and the main speaker is attacked.
And that describes pretty much the entire mainstream media. And here's where the tweets start coming at me. Hey, Bill, not every Muslim is responsible. Of course they're not. No serious person ever said they were. This is what's called a straw man argument, where a person doesn't engage with the actual points being made, but brings up a completely different point that was never being contested to begin with.
Happens a lot in the 9/11 truth movement. Happened a lot in those kind of debates. Happens a lot via the debunkers and the fact checkers.
If we are, for example, discussing how technology has made our lives easier, and I say the smartphone is a wondrous device, and you say, so you support toddlers working in sweatshops. That's a straw man argument, even though I do support toddlers working in sweatshops. But the straw man argument has been used so often with this issue that I'm discussing here tonight that I thought instead of letting straw man's misleading arguments go unrebutted, I'd invite him on the show. So please, a nice round of applause for straw man, ladies and gentlemen.
So we're going to end it there. I thought it was a decent bit. Again, Bill Maher isn't all terrible. And he is right some of the time, and at least he's challenging these people after the fact. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think there's huge issues with Maher. We talk about them all the time. All right, folks. If you're watching this over on YouTube, thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. We do reach a couple hundred new people on YouTube. I do want to remind you, you can find all my stuff uncensored over at the Rockfin, $9.99 a month or $99.99 for the year. You hit that subscribe button on a desktop. You get myself, you get Whitney Webb, you get Allison Morrow, you get AM Wake Up, and so many other great shows and premium accounts. It's a great way to support the broadcast and get real alternative views. Again, we're over on Rumble. Go check out the Joe Hoft interview if you haven't. I think it's a really good and worthwhile interview. It lets you look on the inside, again, of a media organization that's actually telling the truth about January 6th. And consider buying me a coffee. $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. That's how we keep it going. I want to encourage everybody to also watch all my documentary films and share them. Loose Change, Final Cut, and Fabled Enemies. The 21st anniversary of 9/11 is literally around the corner in the next couple of weeks. Invisible Empire and New World Order, Define and Shade the Motion Picture. They are my big pictures, and they really take you through how we got where we are today. Again, free of charge. I want you to watch them and share them because, guys, this isn't about left or right to me. It shouldn't be to you. It is about right and wrong. Always. I love you guys for joining me. I want to thank everybody that tipped over at the Rockfin during this broadcast, and I'll see everybody on the flip side.